Supporter packs. Anything else we need to check first? Content to check. Yeah, let's check the patch notes. Alright, let's do this. Not very long. And it's comments as well. Oh. Okay. Well, let's just see quickly. Okay, so we learned about the Challenge League. I'm not gonna read too much on that. Actually, sorry, I just want to read this quickly. New challenge leagues includes 40 new challenges. Okay. So they said they changed it, so you get pieces of the set at 6, 12, 16, and 20. I think that's scaled a lot better. I think the majority of people barely gets to 20, and that just makes it like, let's say you're at 17, you might want to push that extra bit to get 20, but 24 is sometimes a bit too far, especially for the average person. So I like this a lot. And I think the fact that you get a full set just pushes you to want to complete it as much as possible, which is great, I think. Each new content and features. Our cores, currency items, ways to... Okay, yeah, so that's the combining them into something else. Introducing a transforming currency. Okay. Sometimes the resultant item is modified unpredictably with a high chance of a specific base type. This one is resultant item is modified unpredictably. Okay, so it depends on what you want the outcome to be. So it's gonna depend on what you put into this and what you want out of it, which one you use of these two. I guess it depends on how rare these currency items are as well. Flying core. So this one is modified unpredictably with a higher chance of upgrading the tier. Okay, so that's... So it's going to be interesting to choose if you want the base type or if you want upgrading of the tiers. Okay. This would be such a cool currency item for normal items, like normal gear. Upgrading the tier of an item. I always want to do that. Only way I believe you can do it now is with Harvest. Rerolling likely to get the same modifiers. Sometimes there's item modified with a higher chance of new mods, so it's if you have trashy things to start with, I guess. I'm assuming that resultant item is modified unpredictably. Oh, okay, wait. Introducing weapon recombination. Currency items destroys 2 weapons or quivers. Okay. Sometimes the resultant item is modified unpredictably. So that's the one he started explaining. Or keeping a base type and then some properties of both. Okay, it's like an Awakener ore, but obviously way different. They don't say this can't be used on influence items, so could make some pretty cool stuff with this. I wonder how rare this stuff's gonna be. So that's the same thing, is for armor, and this one is for jewelry, same as the other one. 20 more keystones, let's go. Why not? Unfortunately, this is the Atlas skill tree. I always like it when they add some new stuff to the game, but I haven't. So they added Awakened, Enhance, Enlighten, and Empower. I would like to see what those does. I'm assuming it's just going to add more levels or more Enhanced or more less Reservation, which, I mean, obviously it would be cool. 6 new uniques. Okay. As well as new variants of 4 existing unique items. Okay, do they show them to us or not? Doesn't seem like they do. This The divination cards are getting absolutely ridiculous now. I mean, unless the ones they add will just be obscene value or very high or have a very high worth. If you flip a stack deck at the moment, your chance is so low of getting something useful. So much clutter. I mean, how do you, without a divination stash stab, keep all of this stuff? There's no way. Um, sorry. Minor new content features. Added an audio cue for attempting to drink a flask that does not have enough charge. Okay. I mean, it could be useful, but if you have 4 flasks that are empty and you're pressing all 4 of them would make 4 sounds, it could be annoying. So I frequently do still mash flasks if I do maps. So I wonder if you have one that's empty, like let's say one that only has 1 use, that's how many charges it has, but the rest all have 2, and you just piano flask through them. It could get annoying, depending on what the audio cue is, and if it's toggleable. Continue to incrementally improve the sound art. Okay, this is just strong PCs. Nemesis challenges. Yeah, this one, I don't know about this one. Some of those Arch Nemesis mods were ridiculous, but yeah, I don't know. They said the monsters will be less tanky, so you could just mow them down without them attacking you, but some of those things were really, really tough to deal with, especially in combination. And they said that could have up to, what, 3? How many did they say? 2 mods? 3 mods? Oh, and a chance of finding with 4 mods. That's basically a fully fledged tier 4, if you put it that way. Arch Nemesis mob. That could be pretty crazy. I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're moving towards a playstyle here, especially with the new cosmetics and stuff as well. We want to wipe out screens at a time, because there's going to be so much visual clutter and stuff. And with this, seems like the monster's going to be so strong. It seems so much better to just wipe out screens in advance than to fight them as they come. I don't know. I will see. I mean, it could be fine. They could have tuned it perfectly. It just, this to me feels scary, especially as someone who's planning to play solo Southbound. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough damage to deal with this and survive. We'll see though. Magic monsters will only have 1. I wonder how Headhunter and the replica Headhunter will be affected by these things. Yeah. I mean, because some of the mods are just, you cannot, you can leech, but you cannot be leeched from, and like I think that's a vampiric one. I mean, that could be cool, but it feels like Headhunter might lose out on a lot of damage this way. We'll see. I'm not gonna own a Headhunter this league unless I have super lucky RNG. Life and experience increased, item quantity and rarity are no longer primarily determined by the monster's rarity. Okay, these are now primarily determined by the type of modifier of the monster itself. Interesting. A monster with a more a monster with more or rarer modifiers will have more life, obviously. Increase item quantity and rarity and grant more experience. I wonder if you get, like, let's say all 4 of the rarest mods on a monster, if you'll actually be able to see the experience increase you gain from it versus just a normal rare with 2 mods or something. I wonder what does grants more experience mean, if it's significant enough to consider. Because if the reason why I'm talking about this is because if you get one with 4 mods, right, you gotta decide, is it worth for me spending time to kill this rare? And depending on how much, let's include this as well. the rarity, quantity, and experience you gain from it, you have to decide, is this worth my time, right? Or me risking my experience in softcore or dying in hardcore. Couch nemesis modifiers are now able to be granted by character suits. Okay, yeah, okay. Inspired learnings and that sort of stuff. You are only able to have one instance of each modifier. Was that always the case with Headhunter? I don't believe it was, right? You could have multiple of the same with Headhunters. Pretty sure. So this is, yeah, potentially just a straight up nerf. I don't know. Depends on how it works out. It could be a mod I'm not thinking about that will make this very overpowered. Alright. Bloodlines and nemesis removal. Removal? Okay. I've been removed from the core game. Okay. I mean, this didn't really affect me much. It added some quantity on some maps, that's all. Incorporated in the new modifier mod system, okay. The Snowbolt, Inferno Bolt, Nemesis have been incorporated into the Frost Strider and Flame Strider. Okay. What was the current or the Arch Nemesis, Frost, and Flame Strider again? I think it was the same thing, right? Leaving those areas that would explode on the ground after you kill them. Or while you're fighting them, I think is how Arch Nemesis was. I haven't played in like 3 months, so kind of forgot some of this stuff. Storm, Herald, and Final Graph Nemesis mods that we found. Okay. If they remove Storm Herald, I would legit not be sad at all. Not be sad. Those explosion guys are so hard to deal with if you have a slow character. Especially if you're not element immune and get shocked. Union of Souls. Okay, what is this? Union of Souls. I remember that. Void Spawn. Havoc Soft. Okay, yes, all of this stuff. Incorporated into the Arch Nemesis modifier. Okay, we found on magic monsters. Okay, so you can't have rares, I guess, that have Union of Souls with magic monsters, which is very cool, because otherwise, especially with the new mod pool, you'd end up with something ridiculously tanky and that would do so much damage. So that's good at least, but still, depending on what mod those magic monsters have, if it's only that one, if it's only like Union of Souls on magic monsters, then it's fine actually, which I believe is the case. Okay, I think this is fine. Alright, so let's see. My cat is chewing my earphone cables. Let me just stop him. Stop. Atlas passive skill tree changes. Am I gonna read all of this stuff? Didn't I have it? Okay, let me just scan through it. I'm gonna read all of this stuff. Maps have 200 chance. Favorite, yes, we've seen that. So you have your favorite maps are more likely to drop. Maps cannot be modified by fragments, and then you get more chance to hit extra content. I mean, depending on what content you do, you potentially could have ran out of fragments, but usually is not the case. So I guess this main determination will be if you want this more content or more quantity, which content gives quantity. So it might just always be better to have this if you have a free skill point available. I don't know. Depends on what you want to do, I guess. Monsters deal less damage and have more life. Detonate Dead League, or because of this reason. I wonder if you take, which this is the other one. Monsters in maps deal more damage, less life. Okay, so it has 25% more damage, 25% less damage, so that evens out. Monsters have more life, less life. Okay, so you're just net negative if you take both. I was just gonna say, I wonder what happens if you take both. So you're probably just worse off. But the more life and less damage could potentially be a thing that almost every hardcore player would go for. I mean, dying is the way to deal more damage later, right? And also to win that race. If you don't die, you win. Corrupted rare maps and Atlas missions. Okay, so that is getting a random scarab effect instead of the one you put in. 100% increase effect of small atlas. That's the one I have no idea when you'll use unless you just want spawn chance of every single piece of content and don't care about the modifiers of this content. Grant nothing, 100% increase, back size per allocated notable. I mean, this could be cool. Once again, if you take stuff that don't really want or don't really need to have too much spawn chance with the small notables, this one, to me anyway, looks a lot cooler if you're doing quantity. Big juice maps could be very cool. Yeah, again, it depends, but that one sounds more reasonable. Okay, then we have level 55, 85, sorry. Eater of Worlds, and then chance to drop additional Ichor. Exceptional Ichor. Okay, that's currency items, right? So you make it harder for more currency drops. The absence of, okay, similar thing. Wait, what is this? Currency items to be duplicated. I wonder how this equates mathematically, because depending on how this works out, it could be better farming the one than the other if you have one of these allocated. Just the effect of the 25 versus the 50. I don't know. I guess it'll depend on the economy as well. Maven's full power is unleashed. Yeah, I'm guessing this is through the gauntlet, which grants. Oh, sorry, I misread that. So it's level 85, so it's similar as the previous two, just for Maven. And then she drops elevated sextants. Guaranteed, it seems. Venarius. Full power is unleashed in the cortex. Same thing, level 85. Drops 3 additional rare items with 3 less commons emphasized. That one could be really strong. Obviously RNG depending on which modifiers you get, but this one could be really cool. Yeah, you could get some real cool items this league if this takes off and a lot of people farms this. The Eye of the Storm says this Cyrus version. That's really strong. 20% to drop an Awakener support gem. What is it currently? Isn't there a skill on the Atlas passive that gives you like 10% or something? Or I don't know exactly what the wording is, but this seems real strong. I wonder if this is replacing that or adding to it. Yeah, that seems real cool. I might try and get this since I'm trying to probably play solo Self-Found. This could be my way of getting an Awaken gem. I might make a build around it if I get one finally on SSF that's useful. Okay, so they're not revealing the rest yet. What is this stuff? Whereas, oh, this is the one I was talking about. Okay, so they has 10% chance to drop support gem. It now grants 30% increased chance to drop Conqueror's Exalt. Huh. Interesting. Uh, this is the cool part to me though. 30% increased chance to drop a Conqueror map. To me that's the cool part here. So it's more Conqueror farming. Could synergize well with this other one. Very cool. My boss has a 1% chance to drop Shaper. Okay. It no longer grants that. Inevitable ambush. Do they say what it is? Cool. They don't say what it is, so I'm guessing it's one of these that's still coming. Unless it is already, I don't know. Can't get more info on this here, so we'll see what that does. But this, I like this personally. I liked Farming Shaper. You always get the chance to get his hideout, because I don't have it yet, so it's always cool farming that. And then you get Uber Elder fragments to sell if you're in Trade League, so that's cool. Fade into the Abyss no longer grants that. Okay, it's been moved to the bottom of the Shaper and Elder cluster on the passive tree. Okay. Boss now grants my boss has 3% chance to drop an Elder map. Okay, so they did this. So they buffed it. So they removed one gives you 1% chance and gave you one that gives 3% chance. That's crazy. They're really zoning in on people that want to farm specific content, aren't they? Chance for an additional connected map to drop from map bosses. Okay. Has been changed. Chance for one monster in each of your maps. Oh, that's the thing they were talking about and making not making the final boss drop the map, but any monster in that map. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this because their idea with this change was that people don't zone, just do the boss, kill the boss, and leave, right? But what you potentially could find now is if people already complete the bonus objective of the map, they would just run in, kill random stuff, drop that map, leave. And it could be they could leave sooner if they could find that map immediately in the first pack, for example. I don't know, I just think it could have the opposite effect, or it could just annoy people if they don't find it. Like there's one skeleton somewhere that you haven't killed yet. Could be annoying. Okay, so next we have your maps have a chance to contain the Sacred Grove. Okay, I don't care about Sacred Grove, but I probably should since I'm playing SSF now. Okay, what is this? Your maps have no chance to contain breaches. Your maps have 2% chance to contain extra content. Okay, so they have this now for everything. I don't know. If it wasn't for getting catalysts, I would 100% take this all the time. Because Metamorph to me is snooze faced and super rippy. I don't know. Your maps have chance to contain blight. I might take away blight, but then again, you want the oils. It's so annoying. It's very cool though. So if you have your annoyance, which I don't know if you'll ever get in SSF, you can do this. But if you play Trade League, which I guess this is, tailored towards, I would personally take those three always, because that content just gets boring. The Blight, Abyss, and Metamorphs. That's my opinion though. And you have a 6% chance to get any of the other content, so buy them also, which is interesting, and I think it works this way. If you block out all of this content, Metamorph, Blight, Breach, Sacred Grove, and let's say you only want Delirium, as I would understand this, you have a super high percent chance to spawn Delirium then. So you could focus even more on content if you want to farm like cluster jewels or whatever you want. Interesting. I think Atlas respec currency is gonna be super expensive this league in Trade League. Just by reading the new changes. Adding a new Atlas notable sealed domain. Okay, so this is Legion, altars, contracts and blueprints. Oh, great. Okay, I'm 100% allocating this one. No rogue markers, no blueprints, no contracts, nothing. Take heist away from me, sir. No, thank you. And then you get 2% extra. I mean, I don't want to be toxic or anything, but I would have taken this even without that last line saying you get 2% extra other content. I don't like the Rogue Harbor stuff that much, personally. Trade embargo. Oh, it's expedition. Okay, I mean, expedition, again, it feels very similar to me than Blight. I don't know. It depends on how far these things are apart on the skill tree. If they're very close to each other, I think it probably people would swap as they get sick of content, but it seems to me that the way they have it here puts you in a position where if you want to farm something, the optimal thing to do is to take all of this stuff, let's say, except for Sacred Grove, then you can get a lot of, you call it again? Harvests. I'll see. Cool though, definitely cool to give us that agency to be able to choose that. Okay, so the Light of Dawn, Longer Grange, Eldritch Embers, 10% chance to duplicate, Searing Exile used. Okay. Okay, so it no longer does that. Player stake, 10% increased damage for each. Alright, so it doesn't give this either. Okay, so they took that away as well. It now grants 50% chance to spawn Searing Exile altar when the influence of the Searing Exile appears in your maps. Okay, so they basically give you a chance to start earlier in the map with your altar. I mean, could be cool. I don't know. It feels like a bit of a nerf if you're juicing your map though. We'll see. Okay, so influence monsters, packs in the area of increased pack size. Okay, that granted. Sorry, I misread that. Are now found as either monster packs influenced by the Eater of World in your map have increased pack size or influence. So what did they do? They said maps and not areas, and they also made it count for both. Is that all they did? Yeah, right? It seems like it. They just put it both into the same thing and made the wording similar. I don't know. Unless there's something I'm not aware of that was an issue previously, that seems pretty generic to me. Shadow of Hunger now grants 50% increased chance to find Eater of World altars in your maps, previously 50%. So they nerfed that. Updated various atlas skills and stakes and modifiers descriptions to clarify they significantly apply to your maps. Clarify they specifically apply to your maps. Okay, so they just said maps. Okay, so they just changed the wording. That doesn't have any significance in how they work. How much fall do we got? A little bit. They made Uber stuff. Increased damage of Eater of Worlds as a melee. Eater of Worlds skills and melee attacks. Okay, increased damage dealt by Searing Exile, Flame Wall skill. This is good because these bosses were super undertuned in my opinion. Especially for being the new endgame pinnacle, as they would call it, bosses. So this is fine, depending on how much they buffed it. Increase the damage to Black Star Fire Beams. Skill Annihilation. Okay. All fire and all camp damage. Okay, so basically they made it not do like more degen or whatever damage, it just hits. I'm thinking. That's what the sentence means. So they made it so the debuffs in the Black Star fight only applies to hits, in other words. Increase the damage of the Infinite Hunger melee attacks. Okay. Okay, so they nerfed the monsters found in the Seething Grime, which is great because that zone is still a little bit of BS to me. Drop Forbidden Flesh, Forbidden Flame, unique items now, scales of map quantity. I don't know about that. So now you're incentivized to kill yourself against the boss, but it's good. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's just, it's good. At least it's good for Trade League because it's still basically impossible for solo self-found to get these, especially matching ones. The chance the Black Star and Infinite Hunger to drop the unique items now scales with map item quantity, similar thing. Now Big altars have been rebalanced. Their downsides feel more impactful. I mean, I think this is fine because what I used to do is just click randomly. I just like have a quick scan over it and quick click and then go, basically. Hopefully I hit the right one. So I guess that's good. But then again, if you stand still in this game, you die. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't create a culture where people just skip them and continue on with the map. The Outreach altar. I had trouble reading that word. Options as the scarab drop slain monsters have been to have a chance to duplicate has been replaced with a new option. Causes divination cards dropped by slain enemies to have a chance to duplicate it. Imagine duplicate doctors. Just a dream. It'll probably never happen, but just the odds. I'm saying doctor is not the best card anymore, but well, at all. But still. It's a farmable one. Okay, so they just nerfed Burning Ground, basically. Specific to the Eldritch Altars. Maven's Invitation, less common from maps, not witnessed by the mage. Okay, so you get less invitations from just generally spamming maps. You need to do new ones to get them, ones that's not been witnessed by Maven yet. And then you can buy them from Kirak. Okay. The Maven releases all bosses at once. Modifier can now roll under invitation. Okay, can no longer roll under invitations. That was a little bit too much though. You can't just have all the bosses come at you at once anymore. Temporal Elder Influence can now be applied to maps alongside either Sirik. Okay, so this is the thing that they added, that you can now add scarabs to already influence stuff, or on top of that add the Sirik Exarch or Eater of World influence to the map. So you could have 3 influences now, because it's going to be Conqueror, Shaper, or Elder, and then one of the Eater of World or Searing Exarch. So you got a 3 now. Yeah, could be pretty crazy, especially for just if you don't know what items you want, but you just want cool items with high item level to use as crafting bases. Shaper, Elder, and Conqueror influence and influence items will now be... Okay, so yeah, so this made sense, right? So they made it so you cannot get the influenced items in areas lower than 81, which is cool because you don't want them anyway as crafting bases. The majority of the time, though, there are exceptions because most of the mods you want has their tier 1 in that high area levels anyway, so I think this is fine. Atlas and map changes. Okay, so they removed Doriani and Vitico Square. Atlas passive skills. Okay, so they just moved their bonus to Infinite Hunger and Black Star. Doriani's Machinum can no longer be offered as a white or yellow map. Okay, so Kirak no longer gives it. And the chance of the maps to contain Delirium Mirror no longer increases by a small amount for each other League Atlas mechanic that appears in the area. Contain Mirror no longer increases by a small amount for each other League. Okay, I didn't even know that was a thing. So apparently the more League monsters you add, the higher chance you would have of getting a delirium mirror. Know that. Instead, maps and areas have an 8% chance to contain a mirror of delirium, with campaign areas from the torch. Okay. Alright. Okay, cool. So you get 8% flat now, which you can scale up from. That's good. I like that. Okay, operatives. Strong boxes can no longer draw polished scarabs in white maps. Gilded and wing scarabs in white or yellow maps. I guess so they just moved the high value scarabs to higher tier maps. I guess people could just quickly farm low tier maps with magic finds and just add it to that of being the best way to play. Because there's no currency drawback in operatives, strongboxes. Shaper, Guardian, and Vault Temple maps are now affected by sexist modifiers. I mean, I don't really know what the effect is of this. I don't know what the effect is of this. I mean, yeah, I was highlighting the wrong thing, but what the effect is of that? There could be some instances like if you take more fire damage from fire monsters, but there are more fire monsters around. If you do like Phoenix, that could be really bad for you. But other than that, like I can't think of any immediate effect right now. Hey, thanks for following. What's it? Wizard Eski Kelly? Wizard Eskeli? Sorry if I butchered that name. My other monitor is full of other windows. Scouting reports can now be found in the Paper Guardian and Vault Temple maps. I mean, that's just Kirac stuff, right? Kirac currencies. I don't think that really affects much. Crafted Harbinger maps modifiers no longer state that the area can contain mysterious harbingers. Okay. The infused harbinger map modifier now causes areas to contain 5 additional harbingers. Okay, so they slightly increased it. That's for infused harbinger maps. Kirac no longer offers a mission to kill an invasion boss. I mean, thank you, because no one wanted that. No longer sells maps with implicit modifiers that cause the area to be inhabited by additional invasion bosses. Yeah, once again, no one wanted those, right? The following maps have been added back to the atlas: alleyways, arena, burrows, bog. Okay, so they just added the maps back that they removed for the last expansion. Okay, and then they removed these. I'm not gonna read through all of them, but let's just see what did they remove that I like. Haunted Mansion. I like that one. Iceberg I liked. Didn't really care too much for the rest, and so they added back. What did I like here? Colonnade is pretty good. They added back. Crystal Ore can be decent depending on what character you play. Desert's decent. Fungal Hollow is pretty fun to me personally. Residence. I think that's the one you need for the 6-link divination card, right? So glad they added that one back in. Tropical Island, I love as well. I mean, I think Nate better off than I was personally. But yeah, I mean, it's good that they shuffle maps in and out. And I'm especially grateful that they are swapping in and out new maps, that they're not too proud to swap in maps they've added recently. Swap in and out. So that, I think that's real cool of them to do that. Map tiers and locations have been shuffled. Okay, sure. Most maps are now initially found at different tier, which is good again, because some things are just way harder high tier than low tier. So I think that's cool. And then anyway, once you get all the, what do they call them? Void stones now? They used to call them watchstones. I don't know if it's still called the watchstones. If you get all the watchstones, you can anyway make all the maps between 14 and 16, so there'll be red tier anyway at the end game, so it's not too big. The following maps can now be found in blighted maps. As blighted maps. Yeah, I don't care about that. um, some of the map bosses you are required to defeat to upgrade the Pantheon have changed, and as a result, okay, as a result of the Atlas changes. Okay, basically the ones that you needed to complete to unlock your pantheons that fell into this pool was just changed to something else, is what that says. Crafting recipes that were previously unlocked in maps have been removed or now. Sorry, what am I reading? Crafting recipes that were previously unlocked in maps that have been removed are now found within other maps. Sorry, yeah. Took me way longer than it should have. This is the same thing. The maps that was removed, they just moved those recipes to some other place. I'm assuming they would still say, tell us where it is, but it's not that it's that important right now. You can always just Google it as you need them or something. Vol vessels found in a Vol temple map no longer have bonus chances to drop Vol temple maps. It's very funny to me that this is a thing they had to address. So I'm assuming they got into a situation where people changed spam those maps. Moose Horizons, thanks for following, man. I find this very funny. um, some divination cards have found new homes. This is good. I really hope they put some of the ones you want for SSF in good places. And I think they should actually in reality swap them around. This is my opinion though. I know a lot of people are against this. Swap them around more. Because for instance, residents, right? And everyone always used to farm residents in SSF to get a 6 link. I think, what is it that you get there? It's not changed at bind, right? Something else. But anyway, if you want a 6 link, you would normally farm residents, right? And if you play SSF every league, residents, farming can get a little bit painful. So swapping them around is pretty cool. But then again, you might have people that don't read the patch notes that spend all day farming a zone that no longer drops their cards, and they'd be pretty mad about that. So this is a difficult one. Right, so next one. Price of protection. What is that? Can now drop in the wall side area of maps. What is this? I don't actually know what that is. Let's check. Oh, beauty. Oh, it's a whatever. It's a dev card for a map. Who cares? Okay, so they tell you where to drop them. Okay, so the offspring peninsula. What is the offspring? It's not the offering. It's not what the one you need for chevrons, right? Oh, it's just Rafa's coil. Okay, cool. Okay, so at least they tell you now already where you find them. Okay, expedition remnants that have provided runic monsters. Additional influence item of now 20%. Okay, so they just nerfed it. Yeah, expedition was a bit overpowered in the previous patch, so I think it's good that they nerfed them a bit. Let's see, item changes. The following unique items will now be found in both Shaper and Elder Influence. What does that mean? Does that mean Shaper can drop them? And what does both mean? Both at the same time? Shroud of Eternity. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I know there's is it a Shroud of Eternity that makes it that you get a buff? I can't remember what exactly the buff is. Let's just see if it's the thing I'm thinking about. The more of the shaper items you have, the better the thing is. I'm not explaining it very well. Um, what is all of this stuff? Go away. A glimpse of eternity. Yeah, this is the one. What is all these ads? Like, jeez. Gains 35% elemental damage, extra chaos per shaper. If you get this now as an elder item, what does that mean? Because now this will not be true anymore. I don't know. That's a weird one. I don't understand this one, honestly. I think both means both, like have Shaper and Elder. Shaper and Elder influence. If they didn't have it worded so weirdly, if they said Shaper influence, it can have Shaper influence and it can have, I don't know how they would need to word it for me to understand it better, but I'm concerned about that. Let's put it that way. I don't know about this one, because if you drop the Eternal Shroud that's Elder, isn't it bricked now? Because you want it to be Shaper for this to work. I mean, that to work. I don't know. Hope someone else knows and can let me know. Not that I'm gonna drop it easily in SSF, but hey, we'll see. Okay, so the Astromancer. Okay, it's divination card. Okay, so just changing the backgrounds. That doesn't really, I mean, I don't think it affects much. Draped in dreams, divination cards. No, it's influence 6 link astral plates. Now awards that. What did it used to give? Why is it all of these ads on this website? Isn't it their official site? So crazy to me. Let's go away. It's anybody armor. Okay, I see. Did they make it and made an actual plate? Oh, this is very good for this dev card. Where did you used to find it? Acquisition. Master. This is Butrid Cloister. Okay. Sure. Why not? Good luck finding it. Price of Protection Divination card now awards a Corrupted Elder Guardian map with a map tier of. What does this mean? Okay, so it gives you an 8 modded Corrupted Elder map, basically. I don't know why I'm reading the div card changes. Monochrome. Okay. Whatever. With an item level 100. I guess I don't know. I don't care about all of these too much. I'm gonna read all of them. I mean, gonna look up all of them. But side quest divination card. Does anyone want 20 scouting reports? I don't know what you use them for. If you already completed all your maps, I don't honestly don't know what you use them for. Anyway, so the hook divination card can now be obtained. Okay, that's very cool. That's very cool. So that's a way to get a double corrupt gem without doing the, what's that thing called? Temple of Atsuatl? Hmm. Cool. You could potentially get some crazy gambles from this card, depending on what the meta gems are. But can you get a Vol version of the gems? So let's say Vol skeletons, right? Could you get a 23, 21 Vol skeletons? I mean, it says corrupted. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll have to see what happens. How do you say these magical words? Bodies? I'm gonna say somebody. Somebody's wisdom can once again be obtained. That sentence read a lot easier. um, and now awards 30% item quantity. Okay. That's cool. So you get a 30% quality unique armor. Depending on what you get, that could be quite cool. Because I don't believe there's any way of getting something to 30 now, is there? Oh, it's Hillock. Hillock, when you do the mastermind, when he's the uh, leader of the safe house. I think so. That's the only way. Anyway, the other way as well is doing corruption in Einar's, what do you call this circle thing? Summoning circle? I don't know, whatever. But this is a way to do it without corrupting your thing, which is cool. Update the description of the mission divination card to clarify it awards a Harbinger piece rather than a Harbinger fragment. Okay, makes sense. Because a Harbinger fragment could be a currency fragment. Makes sense. Updated the art of Silence of Frost, divination card, whatever. I've never really looked at divination art, so. Updated the reminder text on the Orb of Conflict to clarify it can only be used on non-unique items. Okay. Sure. Okay, monster balance changes, crafting vines, they said they nerfed. Okay. Reduce the base movement speed reduction from almost all sorts of crossing vines. So this was really annoying if you did a very slow movement speed build and you had Maven on a boss that you don't want to move around in a lot. You could never get these freaking things off. Kirax League mods available during 3.18. Are we in 3.18 now? I think so, right? This is 3.18. Let me just have my place there. Yes, it's 3.18. Okay, I was just gonna say, weren't we just on 3.18? Fortune favors the brave, breaches, anarchy, since domination, and more harvest there. 16, it's, man. Poor SSF people who just want some cluster jewels, right? Anyway, I guess it makes sense for Trade League. It's kind of. But then again, if you want that, it's always better to take this. Fortune favors the brave. Like, always better. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. There's a 3 in 7 chance that you break even or just one below in cost worth, just going on chaos cost. And then with these, you obviously go way higher in terms of you get what you pay for. I mean, it's 8, right? 8 times, no, not 8, it's yeah, 6, 6-ish. Doesn't divide properly. Yeah, I think it's mathematically makes sense to, if you want to form delirium, do fortune favors the brave. Unless you have the raw currency. I'll have to do like some more math on it, but it just seems to me like it's the thing. Especially if you're low on chaos. Alright, so user interface changes, added options to the hideout decoration. Okay, so this is the thing that makes it so that you can choose who use your portals. Very, very useful if you want to trade and you're in a very high value map, especially if you have few portals left and that sort of stuff. People don't sneak in and take your things. Could be good for you, for big streamers who have people that, you know, just want to snipe them in a way. When selecting a map from the favorite map slot, you are now able to click on the existing favorite map slot. Yeah, that's cool. So basically what this just means is, let's say you have beach as your favorite map, right? So you drag it or you click on the favorite map on the left hand side, click on beach. Then the next one you have to do it again and again. Instead of doing that, you can just click it once on the top one and then click the top one with the subsequent lower ones or the one just above it. So you could fill in, if you imagine this is your favorite map slot here, you can fill in each of them by dragging the one above it down instead of, moving up and down. Small thing, but in my opinion, those things make a big difference. Especially if you want to swap favorite maps around, if you're farming specific things. It's good for longevity of players, these sort of things. Oh, player retention is the word. Okay, so Vault Temple map and some unique maps we found in the Atlas now have their map stash tabs. So it's hidden by default. Okay. Why would does anyone know why this is useful? Because basically, let's say you don't drop a Vault Temple map, right? And it's hidden in the map stash tab slot. That's what I use a lot of the time to see what maps I've not completed, because you can see you don't have that white underline on the map to see you completed the bonus objective. If you hide it, how do you know that you haven't done it yet? And yeah, it might not be a thing that's required for the Atlas bonus, but I mean, there are completionists out there, right? People who want to say their build was able to complete every map, and maybe I'm making a big deal out of nothing. Let's just put it this way. I would like it if someone would explain to me why this is something they chose to implement. I just would like to understand. There could be some reason for it. If you don't have flask or map stash affinities or tabs with those affinities full, unique maps will now fall back on the bottom. Sorry, what am I reading? What am I reading? Unique maps will now fall back on the unique stash tab affinity. If you don't have map stash, then they go to unique stash. Honestly, who plays PoE? I actually want to know without the map stash tab. And I mean play as in fully complete pinnacle bosses, basically. Like fully play the end game without a map stash tab. Because those people, they're real like heroes. Legit. Keeping track of all those maps. Nah. If you don't have Delirium Blight dash tab affinities, those dash tabs are full Delirium maps, and Blighted maps will instead fall back on map. Okay. Similar thing. I would definitely advise having Delirium Blight affinities, because it's very annoying searching through your maps to find the Delirium and Blighted ones. Like, I can't even. Just have them. Just switch them on, even if it's not on a board tab. Just switch them on any tab. They don't fall into your map tab. That's yeah. Don't do that. You'll probably never do them. You'll forget about them if they're there. And the unique stash tab search filter can now be used to filter modifiers. Very cool feature. Rename the influence section of the currency stash tab to exotic. Cool, makes sense, because technically it's not an Awakener orb, I think, or an Conqueror Exalt, maybe, I don't know, whatever. Tweak the display of various currency items in the default loot filter. Is anyone gonna play with the default loot filter now? Did GGG just convince you? Would like to know if that's gonna be a thing. More user interface changes and quality of life improvements. Okay, whatever. They're still gonna reveal them. Controller support. Basically, you can play PoE with the controller now. I might try it just for the lols, but I can't see how you can enjoy that. There's just too much clicking and dragging and, crafting with currencies from different places. It's can't see how that can be fun. Almost done. Bug fixes, infinite hunger stuff. Do I want to read this? fixed crashes and things and stuff, whatever. Really hope you enjoy PoE Exile Sentinel. So do I. Thanks for your support. Well, thank you for your support as well. Alright, so that's it. That was very cool. What's the highlights here? There's no new skill gems, no new changes to the basically the meta, no meta changes. They changed, this is to me a big thing, the way that the challenge rewards works. You get challenges more frequently at more frequent intervals, and I think it's going to be better for more casual players. You get the new currency stuff for the new league that they explained here. More rare monsters will now have arch nemesis mods instead of the mods they used to have, which will be very interesting to see how that works out. I think it's going to be a bit overpowered, but we'll see. A lot of new keystones and stuff changed on the Atlas tree. They made it a lot easier to farm specific things, depending on what you want to farm. For example, if you want to farm Elder, or let's take Shaper for example, you can now allocate stuff that makes it a lot more likely to drop. Where's that? Not this one. 1%, 3%. They changed this. Map has a 3% chance to drop Elder map, and map has a 3% chance to drop Shaper maps. This will be great for having if you want to farm like Uber Elder and stuff, or just Elder, or just Shaper. And then also the other big thing for me anyway is that you can block certain of the, what's the word, certain content, and then you can have increased chance of all the other content. So you can technically force, let's say you want to force, let's use harvest. You want to force harvest really badly, you can just take all of this. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%, or 8 times 2, 16% increased chance to get harvest on top of everything else you can get on the passive skill tree. Could be very cool. Something else I want to mention is the fact that you can choose to either have more life on monsters and have them deal more damage, or you can do, you can have less damage dealt by them, might make them more tanky, like more health, or you can make them deal more damage and be less tanky. But this to me seems overpowered for Detonate Dead, so just putting that out there. In-game content, they added pinnacle bosses, so Ubers. That's what they're basically saying. So we'll see how strong those are, but there are some pretty cool influences to them. And then they changed it so you can only get influenced items from item level 81 onwards, which could be interesting. Don't know. Is there anything else? Swap maps around, change where dev cards are found, removed Doriani's Machinarium and Vindico Square completely, it seems. Change some dev cards again. Nerfed grasping vines in general. Affinity stuff basically that they swapped around slightly how it works. Nothing real big there. Big thing, controller support would be really cool. We'll definitely try it out just for the fun of it and see how it feels. And then lastly we have a bunch of bug fixes. Alright, well, anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I'm gonna end off here. I appreciate you hanging out, and all the best for Sentinel League. I'm planning on putting out some basic starting videos, not necessarily for guides, but more just how to be ready and what to look out for. So hopefully you can, those will be helpful to you. And yeah, thanks for watching, and have a good evening, and see you guys next time.